Talking about office vacancies, right? Offices are getting clobbered. That's kind of the short of it. Second quarter office vacancy rate in downtown Toronto was 10%, up nearly a full percentage point in the last 3 months, the first 3 months of 2021. And that is the highest it's reached since the start of 2008. Obviously a fun year in our memory books. But when we look at what's coming in the future, Times Colonist was talking with CBRE about what their forecasts are for the commercial real estate market. Well, they say Canadian commercial real estate is pointing to a post-pandemic economic upswing. So we're coming back from an upswing. Yes, that number is low, but there's more upside to come. Downtown office leasing increased in major cities by the smallest amount since the pandemic onset last year, with office tenants preparing to welcome employees back in the second half of the year. It'll be interesting to see if, in fact, people go back to work and offices fill in the second half, in the later part of 2021. Let's talk about whether or not we are preventing sellers from selling. I think this is important because this whole concept of moving up the property ladder, you got somebody buy their first home, they move up, they get something a little bit bigger, they move up again, and then they eventually downsize, all of which creates space for that next person to buy a property, creates the flow. Well, today I want to discuss an article that's called Homebuyers Gridlock, 25% of Canadian real estate sellers can't afford to sell, according to Zillow. We've got a 401 style gridlock happening in Canada right now for sellers. I really don't understand why people like traffic jams. I mean, apparently they line up for it. So Zillow Canada commissioned a new survey via Ipsos on buying and selling real estate. So this wasn't really a big component of their research, what they showed. Like there was never a lot of spotlight pointed at this, but I thought this is worthy of a segment because I think this could be a big problem we have in our local market that's, it's causing this gridlock. A quarter of homeowners ready to sell haven't listed because they can't afford to upgrade. Affordability. So affordability is not just a crisis for the first millennial, for the entry level. In fact, I've seen a lot of articles now talking about the battle between millennials and boomers and this kind of like the downsizers, and there's conflict there. There's conflict. It happens at every level. The result is a buyer's gridlock where people are, quote, locked into their situation. All the traffic lights have turned red in Toronto. Can you blame them? Right? You would too if you had to change in the middle of the street. Homebuyer gridlock. Most of you already know when the property ladder is, but what is a gridlock? What does that mean? Well, it happens when one of these groups can't afford to make the jump at any level. If you've got a space that's too wide, if the gap becomes too big between the starter home and the mid-tier, one grows too large and the starter homeowner can't upgrade. The problem is if the starter homeowner doesn't upgrade, the mid-tier owner can't upgrade either because they couldn't sell their home to that person. And there you go. When things get really bad, there isn't even a suburb to flee to due to the flattening prices. This results in everyone being, quote, stuck in place like they're in gridlocked traffic. I think it's a very wonderful description. No, it's not a good thing, but it's a good description and understanding of what is happening. So here's the spiral. If a starter homeowner doesn't sell, the first-time home buyer can't purchase. This forces them to look further out from the center of the city or compete with a smaller pool of buyers. This drives home prices higher, in either case making it even more difficult for you to sell. In conclusion, fewer people are moving, placing more pressure on home prices. Maybe sales activity is slowing down because sellers are just stuck. Could that be the reason? I think it's definitely contributing. That, or the only thing more addictive than mortgage debt is stealing traffic signs. Because we can stop whenever we want to. But I thought this was kind of a good way to explain it. So I'm going to read for you how they describe this. 1 in 4 sellers have put off listing their home since they can't find a new one. So all of that challenge that we're experiencing on the buying side is really hurting us on the selling side, which spirals into this circle back on the buying side. So it shows 29% of homeowners see low inventory impacting their decision to buy, sell, or move. This results in a lot of people staying in place and sends well-heeled first-time buyers into bidding wars or to other regions, which we've experienced. Rather than an orderly flow, everyone is stampeding for the same few units. So how do we fix it? How do we fix this? What's the solution? A real estate market with low inventory produces a market with even less inventory. This is partially why price corrections tend to see so many sellers all of a sudden. They don't need money, but they can finally sell and take some of those gains off the table. So prices are going to come down. Finally, there's buyers, a place for me to go. I know prices are lower where I'm going, but they're also lower where I'm selling. But I'm okay with that because I can get some capital gains, get my primary residence exemption. I'm happy. I'm off to the races. Well, once prices fall to a level where starter homeowners can afford to upgrade, they do. So all of a sudden we got this platform where people can buy again. You know what? I've got an opportunity to go. Prices come down. So it frees up starter homes and keeping the system working. Ironically, falling prices, not the only solution, but this is the one they're offering. Falling prices can create more inventory, and that could essentially fix the problem. In the meantime, what should we do? What is a Canadian to do with a high price and they can't afford to move? Well, maybe we should renovate. Maybe we should update our home. And I thought this was kind of a good opportunity to talk about this possibility of a pool. Does a pool add value to your home? Maybe you're wondering. Well, apparently, quote, demand for pools has been double or triple than it was pre-pandemic. This is talking to Jennifer Gannon, owner of Toronto-based Bonavista Pools. And so talking to Jessica England of Baldwin England Luxury Real Estate. So on the real estate luxury side, we see a lot more of the pools, at least it is in Toronto. So it's a good place for us to do it. But the only real way, she says, that you experience a growth because of the cost or increase in value of property due to having a pool is only if the pool, is in the city of Toronto specifically, you're no longer allowed. Backtrack. Losing myself here. I want to make sure we're on the same page. In Toronto, the only platform she gives where you're actually guaranteed an increase in value is on a ravine lot. That's what I wanted to say. Well, the city of Toronto no longer allows pools to be built on these properties. Did you know? Funny how red tape can do that kind of thing. However, any that have existing pools are considered exempt from the rule. They're grandfathered, so to speak. For this unique reason, this England chick says any existing pool on a coveted Toronto ravine lot adds to the home's property value, and the associated price would be roughly $500,000 depending on the location. So for other homes, what about for those of you who don't have a increase in value on a ravine lot property with pool in the back? Well, for the rest of us folks, this common folk, an increase in home value isn't always guaranteed. However, experts generally agree a pool can add a value to your home equal to 7% of the pool's cost, but not always. Tend to think that with COVID that's a little bit higher, but that's the news. That's the number. So can we blame people? Not only can they not afford the value increase of a pool, but they're gridlocked. They're stuck. Prices in Toronto remind me of Mexico and Canada. It's bordering on stupidity. That was mean. I take that back. I take it back. The U.S. is actually, the U.S. has one thing. It has one thing on Canada. They have nicer neighbors. Hope you guys learned some stuff today. As I like to, I'm going to share one of our reviews we've got. And if you guys could leave us an iTunes review and a 5-star rating, really appreciate it. Today comes from MDAR13. It says, love this podcast. Saves me so much time from having to sift through all the news myself. Appreciate the stupid jokes. Refreshingly unpolitically correct. You have no idea, man. No idea how unpolitically correct. I'm walking some fine lines around here, man. Today I had a joke about, because it's Canada today, I had a joke about a Canadian moose limbs, but playing it safe. Playing it safe. I hope you guys enjoy the lightheartedness of our show. Please leave us a 5-star rating review. And there's no reason to be upset. In fact, today's Canada Day, so smile. What are you, a maple tree? All sappy like? I'll leave it there and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and keep it real.